The recent arrest of Democracy Hub protesters have sparked widespread condemnation, with CDD-Ghana raising concerns about unlawful police tactics and violations of constitutional rights. But is the Ghana Police Service simply upholding its duty to maintain public order? Could the protests have posed more risks than critics are acknowledging? Let's speak to Dr. Michael Augustus Akakbo. He's a Senior Programs Officer, Human Rights and Social Inclusion. Many thanks for your time here on on the AM show. Now, let me begin by asking, while the CDD-Ghana condemns the police, could there be a case for the actions if the protests risk public safety or escalated violence? Kindly unmute so we can hear you. Okay, we are trying to reconnect, and then this is a conversation on CDD condemning the abuse of due process. If you can hear me, please unmute, sir.
I have. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. So I was asking, while the CDD may condemn the police actions, could there be a case for their actions if the protests risked public safety or escalated into violence?
Well, the police are meant to do the job they're meant to do to protect public properties and safety and ensure that no citizen, even in the moment of demonstrations or protests, can come to harm. So, yes, we agree that all over the world there are mechanisms and measures for how to do crowd control. And when we have a problem with the way the police have acted, is the manner in which they treat young protesters who decide to exercise their civil and political rights of demonstrations and protests by a more older generation. We could talk of Occupy Ghana, and we see how the police handled or the control of such crowds. What we are finding very interesting is that over the years, these are young kids, and we need to teach them a lesson. Seems to dread. If you look all across our campuses, whenever that demonstration.
Michael, you are breaking up. We can't really hear you. Kindly reposition. Dr. Michael, sorry. Can you reposition and let's try again? Dr. Akakbo, can you hear me? I think we've lost him, and we'll try to reconnect and bring you details, because the CDD issued a statement condemning the unlawful arrest and detention, excessive police tactics, violation of constitutional rights, and denial of due process in that statement. And we want to get more clarity on that. And Dr. Michael Augustus Akakbo joins us on phone now for this conversation. Doc, you were in the middle of telling us why, although the protesters were doing their bit peacefully, and something about the police using force. We couldn't hear you well, so let's start again. I was asking that, could it be the case that the police treated the protesters the way they did because the public, and there was a bigger risk of public safety or escalated violence?
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, this is much better. Thank you.
All right. So I was making the point that yes, the police have a duty to protect all citizens, and even in the moment, in times of demonstration and protest, have a duty to ensure that public safety is assured for members of the society who might not necessarily be part of the demonstration. That we agree that the police has a mandate to ensure that that happens. But what we are increasingly worried about is how the police seems to be treating young protesters, especially the youth, when they go on demonstrations. And our position is that if you look across the country from years back, even on our campuses, if you see how when young people are protesting, the police handle them, the way they handle them, it causes for alarm. There seems to be a discriminatory component to how the police deal with young people. I feel like the police go out to engage young protesters with the mindset of teaching them a lesson. And the manhandliness of how they deal with them shows that they have no regard for the rights of these citizens, of these young people who are basically just exercising their civil and political rights.
So the key issues that CDD has raised in this statement, aside condemning police tactics and all, is unlawful detention, you say. But some of these protesters who were remanded have actually been granted bail and released, and they are still in the process of securing bail for the remaining 11. So what is the bone of contention here?
Well, I mean, our problem is that it's not so much about the fact that they have been granted bail and they now are able to secure bail and leave the police station. But more importantly, why do we even arrest citizens who are out there exercising their constitutional right to protest? So why do we need to arrest young people just because they are angry at the way the country is being run and they are expressing their anger through a peaceful demonstration, which is constitutionally guaranteed? So the whole component of arrest itself is a violation of the rights of the citizens. So we don't think that the way the police handle protests is the appropriate way to handle these protests. You deprive people of their liberties and their freedoms when you put them in prison, when you arrest them. You curtail their rights and their freedoms. And we have a big issue with that.
Dr. Kagbo, there are two sides to the story. The story of protesters storming the streets to register displeasure and the police service doing their bit to ensure that the public safety comes first. You've spoken about the rights of these people. We had issues or reports about people not giving medical attention. The police came out with a statement saying that that was false information. And the person in question, Oliver Bakavomawo, was said to be in need of medical attention and ignored. But the police said that he was in the hospital, at the police hospital. So the question I'm asking you is, could it be that the delay in releasing these detainees could be a part of a thorough police investigation to ensure no wrongdoers went unpunished? Because, in fact, the protesters instigated violence. As you can see on your screens right now, there was a gentleman who is going at it with the police. We even saw Oliver Bakavomawo demobilizing a police vehicle. So could it be that the delay is simply but is a case of investigation so that the police can have clarity on what happened so that perpetrators can be brought to book? Again, we are in a very politically charged climate. The police needs to send out a statement that they're in control of our affairs. What's your argument?
Well, I think you make a valid point in terms of when crimes are committed during protests or demonstrations. And that is exactly why we have the police there to ensure that these protests and demonstrations do not roll over into place of into unlawful acts. So yes, in places where it can be determined that an individual had actually committed a crime in the process, the laws may be able to deal with that individual in the way it is supposed to do. And we do agree, we do accept that. But there are narratives of ordinary bypassers who were arrested for being in that space. What crime did they commit? And for what reason did they have to be in cell for 48 hours? Or what crime what did they do for them to lose their rights and their liberty? So we are not saying that the police should not do its due diligence in ensuring that the right things are done. But this is a protest. This is a demonstration. In terms of access to healthcare, yes, we heard Oliver has gotten some attention at the hospital. But the point we're making is that the police needs to find out a better way of dealing with protests.
Okay.
This way of engagement that the police have with citizens when they go on demonstration, we are saying it's not the right way. The police seems to forget that they are also members of the very community that these citizens belong to.
Okay.
And these issues that the protesters are out there are issues of national concern to all of us. So we need to be able to understand that the police is not there. We need to have this understanding. The police is not there to protect the powerful. The police is there for the protection of citizens against abuse by the state or state actors. So this whole mindset that when people are on demonstration, the police have to come to protect the interests of a certain class of people, we need to move from that mentality to a community-based way of policing.
You said the police has a mentality to protect a certain class of people. Which class of people are you referring to?
Well, we do understand that most often there's this mindset to protect powerful people. And I mean, the narrative is going around. I haven't validated that. The narrative is going around that certain decisions were made to hold people in cells based on some orders. I haven't validated that, but we need to have those validations. Okay. But the point is that it is not in the interest of the police to stop citizens from expressing their civil and political rights of dissent.
Dr. Akagbo, beyond the statements that you've released, what else is the CDD doing to ensure that the rights of these people you speak of are actually they're doing the right thing to them? The Ghana Police Service is treating them fairly. What else is the CDD doing, apart from the statement?
Well, we're continuously engaging with all stakeholders, including the police and including with the populations who go on this engagement. And it is our wish that we could find a middle ground where these protests can take place without no intimidation by the security forces. Our democracy guarantees us that right. The Constitution provides us this beautiful mechanism to express our dislike for what we might not like or when things are not going right within the state. So these mechanisms need to be protected. These are ways for us to bubble out of the frustration that people might be holding in themselves. So these mechanisms are very important to the survival of our democracy, and we need to protect it. We don't need to start criminalizing, and we don't need to start, in a way, using the law as a way to suppress the rights of people to express their anger when they do not like how things are going in the country.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michael Augustus Akagbo. He's Senior Programs Officer and Human Rights and Social Inclusion with the Center for Democratic Development. Many thanks for your time. Right, we'll take a quick break and we'll return with more. We still have that conversation on the ECG boss resigning and that presidential candidate on what his aspirations or vision is for the country. We'll be right back.